Indian news ma kwaba assign the ba wan kasa fidie so bio. Na maka trust before anything else na just a share na ebiem so kwa na wo subscribe to your channel no. What's the fa political news there? Never governance. We catch you sa pan put to forma yet. Na pan to forma yet there. Ane na nsɛm foforɔ bi nso asan asi. Benim sɛ wo de nsɛm ade ba nyina na ya na ya wote na ya wohɔ na ya wofɛ nso so. Nti no nsɛm foforɔ bi asi a India news yan so pan ye to for me baby ati nyina chi no ye nsa atumi aka bi na yaso nso atimi ate saa nsɛm bi. Yentie nsɛm member sisi a na mpanifo mpo se kakum no ye chi no koku enum. De ba before that no subscribe to your channel no. Sabeka all other news fa politics one de opesa wote no ɛho. Itie ba ebe ba bia susu anso person de body no fa na de asie bia no so fa comment anso to ase ne yenkenkan informaw de ready na emeko yentie nsɛm mercy a utie no fa comment to ase ye ba de emfa nchemu no so ento aso yentie mra
met talking about a committee being established was out of the question. Martin Kpebu is private legal practitioner joining us on Zoom right now. Counsel, you've seen and heard the former Chief Justice, who's a member of the Council of State now, Sophia Akuffo, specifically indicate her position on this and the fact that, in her view, the gravity or the gravamen of the offense does not in any way warrant the punishment or the action of the removal of the Chief Justice, because from where she sits, the threshold was not met. Does that argument have any merit as well from what you observed every step of the way in the matter relating to what led to the removal of the Chief Justice?
Well, Mr. Okansi, it pains me that tonight I have to disagree violently with my beloved Sophia Akuffo. Yeah, it's painful, but well, when it comes to the national interest, just as she was candid, even though, I mean, that's her opinion, and even though she's a member of the Council of State, that's the same way I have to be brutally frank with my beloved Sophia Akuffo, former Chief Justice. I totally disagree with Justice Sophia Akuffo. What happened cannot be considered as trivial. I heard that. Did you hear the word trivial?
Essentially, the description she put to it, that yes. I mean, it wasn't weighty. It says the gravity doesn't meet the threshold.
Yeah, yes, we can't say that. To be honest, we can't. And so, with the way our beloved Sophia Akuffo is put it, one is left with a very strong impression that that was the same way she was running the system. Yes, a very strong impression. It's good. It's good. And I'm sure for me, coming from me, you all know that I love Sophia Akuffo to bits. Every Saturday when I sit down, I'm always lauding her on the Key Points program, always extolling her virtues. So if you see me disagreeing with her today, then it means that it's a serious matter. Our dear Sophia Akuffo, no, this is not trivial. Please, people have gone to jail for stealing plantain, cocoyam, fowls, etc. So, and how much is plantain? 100 Ghana, 200 Ghana, etc. I mean, misconduct involving per diem that runs to $10,000 at a go, $10,000 at a go, etc. Even today, how much is $10,000? $10,000 today, even the interbank rate, you call it roughly 105,000 Ghana. I know the interbank rate has gone up a bit, but I'm using a conservative rate. 105,000 Ghana. You know, if you divide even by 12 months, you know how many Ghanaians don't make, thousands of Ghanaians don't make 105,000 Ghana a year. And here we are talking about two trips that Justice Torkono did, one with her husband and then the other with the daughter, right? Mm-hmm. So, and also you look at the tickets that were bought. Please, this cannot be trivial. This cannot be said not to hit the threshold. Let's remember, and I see I'm talking street alongside law. The people in the street are very upset because they say, we in the street, we steal a fowl, we go to jail. We steal a goat, we go to jail. We steal plantain, we go to jail. I remember about 3-4 years ago, I was on Joy FM News File. A young man, a barber, whose wife had just given birth and he didn't have money. It led him to steal, what was it? Was it a goat? Something like that. Across the table during the News File program, we had to contribute to get this barber out of jail because his wife had just given birth, fresh baby. Then later, other people contributed to, get him a barbering salon, etc. The stories are countless. So the more people hear that our own beloved Sophia Akuffo is saying that these are not weighty matters, then the more they get angry. Please, these are very serious matters. The money is weighty. It's weighty. You see, when she says it's not weighty, one other thing that we must also hit with all the strength we can and get reforms is that she's right. These are trivial. These are not weighty. When you compare to what our ministers, presidents, etc. get, that is where the fight is. But unfortunately, the law is the law. This policy, I have seen a document now making the rounds about Justice Sophia Akuffo's evidence when she went to the committee, when she went to testify. That policy was in place when she was Chief Justice. I hear some sources say that she also even had either she introduced it or helped to put it in its current shape. And one of the questions in cross-examination, they asked her, when you are going on a private visit as a Chief Justice, then you can only take the security along. Is that correct? And Madame Sophia Akuffo said yes. Yes, if we have time, those pages I can read. I've just been reading the
yes, I mean, that we'll definitely have a much more expanded conversation on this in the coming days. So that will detail, yes, I've seen that as well, but we'll put it all in compact form for that conversation ahead of us in the coming days. But then again, I think there's a clear establishment that, yes, there was some wrongdoing. If you listen to her, she acknowledges that there was some wrongdoing, but these are her words, that in her honest and candid view, that decision that has been taken as a result of this wrong has weakened the institution of the judiciary. The former Chief Justice, in the view of Sophia Akuffo, did not get a fair trial. That even though it is not a trial, strictly speaking, it was handled as though it were a treason trial. These were descriptions of what happened. Counsel?
No, I disagree once again. If anything at all, this case is rather strengthening the judiciary, making the judiciary more accountable. That, okay, the public is watching every step of the way, how we use public funds. So the judiciary are to set an example for society to follow. You know, there are 3 professions in this world, right? Law, prostitution, and then divinity. That's the pastors, right? 3. So and amongst these 3, they will tell you that law is the primus inter pares. So we are setting an example for the rest of the nation that when it comes to the judiciary, the standards are very high. It doesn't matter that it's a Chief Justice. So rather, I tell you honestly, this case is rather strengthening the judiciary, meaning that we should return to the straight and narrow. The days where the Chief Justice had levity with the public kitty are gone. And as I've said, Mr. Counsel, let's stress the point that, let's stress it. In all of this, I get the strong impression, just like Sremsai said, that our beloved Justice Sophia Akuffo is saying these things because it appears that's how she ran the system. You see, and I'm sure look, let's make further points. If you go into the audit report where these things that were put before the committee, they were flagged by auditors, okay, the Auditor General's report. You will see that another previous Chief Justice also broke the rule and was asked that his wife returns the money. Please check. When the audit report came out privately, because you say we don't have time, I can't dig. But you see that Chief Justice was asked, his wife was asked to return the money. And as I'm saying, from what we are hearing through the grapevine, this practice didn't start today. So if anything at all, the judiciary has been used as more or less, let's call it sacrificial lamb, to help to return to the straight and narrow, that we should make sure that we spend the public purse the way it has to be spent by law. Because once again, if you go to the hearing, I mean, the testimony of our beloved Sophia Akuffo, and you all know that I love Sophia Akuffo to bits, all right? My Yasantua, our Yasantua. You'll see that there's a part where she was asked in cross-examination that the policy that as Chief Justice they were using for travels, etc., right? That money they receive is contrary to what is in their letters of appointment. So what is coming out is that I didn't know. Well, we are all learning. Not knowing when the Chief Justice is sworn in, the Chief Justice is given a letter of appointment by the President. Is there any wonder that usually Chief Justices don't appear too independent? Because the President gives the Chief Justice a letter of appointment.
And you're asking that power be taken from the President?
I'm very happy. I'm going to interview a legend.
And we started making this call in Akufo-Addo's time. And I didn't even start it. I know that previously, even from Kufuor's time. So I've just come to continue a fight that started over 20 years ago. The President gives the Chief Justice a letter of appointment. So is there any surprise what was happening? That the Speaker case, the Afenyo-Markin case, it was filed, and within an hour and a half, the Chief Justice had collected judges to sit on the case, etc. So back to this point, the point we are making is that at the committee hearing, Madame Sophia Akuffo was asked that does she see that what is in the letter of appointment, the travel policy about the per diems to be received, is different from what the judiciary had set up, and she said yes. So, and we all know that the letter of appointment will supersede what they had set up in the judiciary. So this case is a classic masterstroke case of accountability of the judiciary taking the lead in making sure that we are resetting. This is a resetting agenda where we want to protect the public purse, not like somebody who came and by the time he was leaving, we had lost the public purse. We couldn't find it. Somehow, we have found a new public purse, and this time we want to make sure that everybody is guarding the public purse. So please, we cannot say that these matters are not weighty. This is unnecessary. Please, no. No, I can't agree. Yes, what it is that I had said that we should allow Justice Torkono to resign. And I still, Rana, it's too late. You know, I've been making that call.
You have been, and you were consistent about it.
Supreme Court decisions.
Absolutely.
Yes, we've referred to the Justice Derry case and the J. Chum case, where the Supreme Court said if they start these hearings, the respondent, in this case, Justice Torkono, should not be allowed to resign. But I still believe strongly that if the statesmen like Kufuor, etc., had stood up and prevailed upon President Mahama, we could have had a political settlement. But let's say citizens didn't push enough for Justice Torkono. It didn't happen. Okay?
There are others who also hold a different view. If you say citizens didn't push enough, because she herself, when she addressed the press conference, indicated that your proposal of she resigning for a political settlement, as you put it, was not even on the table. It's not an option, because if she had done that, she would have lost all her entitlements. Having been at the bench for over 20 years, I mean, juxtapose that with that decision or that proposal you make to her that, look, to avoid all of this, just resign. She said that was not on the table. She gave you the answer herself.
Yes, Mr. Kansi, I disagree once again. I disagree on two fronts. Look, as I told you, we're making those calls. You think if they had gone to President Kufuor, they had gone to Otumfuor, who again, as for Akufo-Addo, you know that I will support Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo would have made her case worse. Go to other statesmen. Think if they had come together and then the media had leaked it, that, these statesmen have stepped in, public pressure would have come upon President Mahama that, I know Chief Justice Torkono, Charlie, the first time, she's not the worst citizen, yet what she suffered is like the suffering given to the worst of our citizens. mean, she's not a bad judge, not bad, but as for this rule, this expenditure to that quarter, like we are saying, from every indication, she's not the only one to have breached these rules. Her predecessors have breached it, right? And there's record to show that her predecessors breached it. So you see where the sympathy is coming from. So I believe that, and we always knew this story that's come, we had heard it. So you see, this is what happened. Soon after the elections, when NDC won, it became clear that because of how Justice Torkono had handled the vacant seats matter, she had, created a lot of enmity for herself. You know, Speaker Bagbe had to respond to her publicly.
Right.
And Tadio Sori, who is one of the lawyers for Daniel Ofori, wasn't treated well in the court. And you can go to YouTube and watch the proceedings, etc. So me, as soon as NDC won, but privately, we started saying that, look, it would be better for Justice Torkono to resign. She couldn't read the mood of the country.
Right.
The country wants a reset. You could see it, and you see it in the number of votes. Over 1.6 million for John Mahama that we threw out in 2016.
Right.
It should have been a strong message to Justice Torkono that resign. She held on. But even after the petition started, I still believe that if she had gone begging, asking people to intervene enough, it could have worked.
Well,
I believe it could have worked.
I see. Well, as you indicate, it's too late, but she did indicate that was not even, on the table for her. But I thank you very much. As I indicated, on Saturday, we have a conversation on this one. So reserve all the other references you sought to make for that big one. Thank you so much for joining us, Martin Kpebu. Appreciate you.